Hello everyone at Geek House and Speedy Comics.
Let's start it off with this question. The Batman, right? The Batman, since comics, since the beginning of his first appearance in comics, the character underwent a lot of evolution from how it was to how it is. Even the tone of the productions, the shows and the films, up to the movie that we got now and the Arkham Games and that tonality. How did you see, did in your 30 years of working on the Batman, did that ever come up with you and you have to evolve the way you handle the character?
It's interesting, when I found the role, it was really during the initial audition when I went in to read for Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski and Andrea Romano, the original creators of the show who were there at the audition. I didn't know a lot about Batman. I knew the Adam West show from when I was a little kid. And Bruce Timm said, we love Adam, but that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. He said, don't you know anything about the Dark Knight comic books? And I really didn't. So I had to really start from zero in terms of coming up to speed. But they told me that day at that audition, he said his parents are murdered in front of him as a child in Crime Alley, and that forms his life. A schism happens, and he spends his life avenging their deaths, and he has this dual identity. And I said, well, you're telling the Hamlet story. Because I was putting it in what I had a reference to, because I was a stage actor from New York. I'd trained at Juilliard. I did Shakespeare and the Greeks, you know. So I was looking at it in terms of a classic, tragic Shakespearean hero, which is exactly what Batman is. Of all the superheroes, he's the only one who has no superpowers. There's nothing supernatural about Batman. He is a tortured soul who spends his life wanting to heal the world, wanting to redeem the world. He is that classic character. He is Orestes. You know what I mean? He is Achilles. He is all those tragic heroes from history. But he's our version. He's our culture's version of that. So I approached it from that perspective, of that classic, those roles that I had played on stage. And it fit. It was exactly what they were looking for. But it was interesting because they had seen over 500 actors. They'd been looking for the better part of a year for people to play this role. And they had seen film actors and television actors. They'd seen lots of people because it was being done in LA. I was a New York stage actor who happened to be in LA that month because I was doing a pilot for a show. What they needed was a stage actor. That's exactly what they needed for this very theatrical, dramatic, epic character. And they didn't realize that's what they needed. So it was a very lucky coincidence that I happened to be in LA at that moment. But once the character was established, the way I found the voice was by focusing on that moment in Crime Alley, that moment. What would that do to me, witnessing that murder, that terror as a child? Where would I go? And it just put me into this very dark and a very brooding place. Because I was thinking that would be a place of comfort, that would be a place of safety. That's where I could be wounded and not be afraid. And then the public face, the Bruce Wayne, would be the playboy, the charming, sarcastic character. That's the performance, I thought. That's the performance. The Batman sound, that's not a performance. That's his broken soul. And the performance is Bruce Wayne. So that was something I discovered that day at the audition. And once I found it, the trick for me was to maintain it, to keep it fresh, to keep it real. And once that voice was established with the audience and it resonated with people so well, they expected to hear it fresh and alive each time. So for 31 years, people always ask, how has it evolved? The trick for me has been to keep it real and to keep it authentic and to keep it true to that initial sound without letting it get stale. And I think the fact that I was a theater actor helped me with that too, because I'm used to doing a show 8 times a week for a year, and each night it has to be new, because each audience sees it for the first time. So for them, it has to be new. So for me, it's been always about keeping it fresh, keeping it real. And whenever I feel that I'm getting lazy, I go back to that moment in Crime Alley.
Right. You did set the bar for the voice. Yours is the go-to, the Batman voice. That's Kevin Conroy. Do the other actors or anyone ever doing Batman, do they call you up, ask you for advice, hints, notes, anything like that?
No, actors don't do that. Actors have big egos. Right. You know, they would never ask another actor. Right. But when they do cast other actors, I know they tell them to imitate me. And I always want to say,
straight from the top.
But I'm right here. I'm available, you know. But they do go to that sound now, once it's been established.
Right. Well, our final question. You are handed all the resources of Bruce Wayne. What would you do with them?
I would do exactly what Bruce Wayne does with them. I really would. If I had that money, if I had all the riches in the world, wouldn't you want to heal the world? Wouldn't you want to make the world a better, fairer place for everybody? I would do and that's what Bruce Wayne does. And he does it anonymously. I would do exactly what Bruce Wayne does. I would invest in justice for everybody. That's what I would do.
Wow, what an answer. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much for making the time to meet with us. We're very happy that you're here. I'm sure the guys are going to love this interview.
Great.
And your fans are dying to see it. You mentioned that this is your first time in the Middle East, but people love you so much that it feels like we've met you before many times.
I have a huge audience in the Middle East, and I didn't realize it till I went on Twitter. And I was getting all these tweets in Arabic, and I thought, they know I can't read their sweet tweets.
One of the most classic Arabic songs is the opening theme for the animated show for the Arabic dub.
Oh,
it's
really?
like a whole dance. I'm surprised no one mentioned this. It's a whole dance. People go down on it. You know, it's not the melodic. It's a whole song. Maybe one day we'll let you listen to it. All right. I don't want to take more of your time. Thank you very much, Kevin.
Good talking
It's
to you.
amazing to speak to you.
So you're with Geek to Me.
Hmm?
You're with Geek to Me.
I'm from Speedy Comics.
Speedy Comics.
But Geek House Show and Speedy Comics, they're
Geek
kind of
House
the
Show.
same. We're together in the same form.
Because I
But
did a cameo for you guys.
you did a
didn't I?
cameo for us, and you were at the Speedy Comics Con as well.
Yeah.
So we did all that stuff together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
I didn't
this
realize
familiarity.
this was the same group. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.